Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of April 5th, 2015. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. What a wonderful week we have. I really think every week is wonderful. It's a changeable week, absolutely, but it is also a week of having lessons that have been coming up, not only recently, but in the larger picture over the last 3 years, having them really hit home and really reach the heart. Having a sense of clarity around recent events and understanding how it is that we are now going to move forward with a greater sense of illumination and clarity, not only on a level of mind, but also on a level of energy as well. This week, the Sun and Mercury will be walking together in the sky. Now, it's not that rare for this to happen. They do this from time to time. And it tends to represent a time when our will and our understanding of ourselves and our direction is in harmony with the thoughts that we are thinking and how we are operating on a level of mind and intellect and rationality. So it's gut feeling working in tandem with rational thinking processes. So this can be a time when we are especially effective and have an understanding that is needed that powers our way forward. As these two planets are together in the sky, they are also going to be meeting Uranus and speaking with Pluto. Now, this is part of resolving some of the energy, part of the process of resolving some of the energy that has been with us since last week with the eclipse. Now, for the April horoscopes, which are up right now, I actually talk at length about the eclipse for every sign out there, really, because it is representing an important turning point for us all. Talked about it in last week's horoscope as well. So this particular conversation in the sky with the Sun and Mercury walking over the path that the moon recently walked over is going to help us to gain clarity and insight and a plan forward over the realizations, the actions, and the events that took place recently as last week and as we are starting off this week as well. But here's the thing, just like I told you late last week, Sun operating in supreme harmony with Jupiter, we start this week with Mercury in supreme harmony with Jupiter as well. So this suggests to me that no matter what truth is coming out, no matter how it is that we are realizing change needs to happen, our way forward, no matter how it is these changes are reaching our heart and our spirit, there is real reason for hope. There's possibility in front of us. There's a real sense of expansion and what could be next and how exciting moving on can actually be. Embracing change can actually lead to a great adventure at that. So we have all this working together this week. Mercury and the Sun will be meeting Uranus. This is the proverbial light bulb moment. This is your energy being washed clean on a level of mind and on a level of who we understand ourselves to be. And this is understanding what needs to happen in order for meaningful change to occur and being committed to it even when it is hard. So it's going to be this that defines much of the week, bringing home some of the lessons of this conversation between Uranus and Pluto that was dominant over the last 3 years. This is one of those moments that helps us to demonstrate that we got the lesson. And where it is that light bulbs still need to be turned on or final clearing outs of energy or otherwise needs to happen, the universe is going to support us in that endeavor. It's going to help us along, help us to bring our instinct, our passion, our gut reaction in alignment with how our mind is operating and in alignment with what we know is actually best from a rational perspective. I often say we do a lot of emphasis on spirit, on emotions, especially in spiritual circles. But rationality is a gift as well. It's a part of being a human being. And I do think that it is when we are in balance that things tend to flow a lot better in our lives. So this is going to be a chance to bring ourselves back into balance with energies of passion and spirit and mind as well. What we also have happening this week, in addition to all this very active Mercury-Sun conversations that are taking place, late in the week, we are going to have Venus moving into Gemini. Venus will move into the sign of Gemini. So this is where love gets downright flirty on a level of words. And this is where we start to express our love and try to attract love into our lives by relying on things more than usual, relying on things like online connections, text messages, and just sort of reaching out to people in a very spontaneous kind of way, like sort of looking through a friends list and being like, oh, wow, that person looks really good. Let me send them a message. It is that kind of energy that's going to be with us now. And the other thing is talking it out. Venus in Gemini is really big on talking it out. It's really big on doing things spontaneously in the moment. And it's really big on love that feels youthful, love that feels free of strings, that feels free of burdens, and understanding that love actually can be one of those things that does liberate. There's an element playing out here as well where, you know, I think about Venus in the air signs. It is love with your best friend. And so all of us in some way are going to be looking at whoever it is in our life and thinking, and even to a certain extent, thinking about the love that we have had in our lives and thinking about, does this person align with someone I genuinely like spending time with, someone I genuinely can talk to, really consider a friend? What happens if I keep hanging out with this person for 10 years or 20 years? Is this somebody I'm going to want to talk to in 20 years' time? Do I enjoy their company on that level? These are going to be part of the explorations coming up for us. But I do think that there's a level of acceptance here. There's a level of commonality here with Venus in this part of the sky that should help sweeten the path forward. Also, this is also the part of the sky, or Gemini is also a sign that is associated with commerce as well. So we should hear, as part of the collective, more about a connection to how is jewelry selling? How are clothes selling? What type of clothes are people buying more of now? What are the trends, if you will? We should see some of that sort of reach more into the media. The sign of Gemini also associated with the media as well. So we should hear more of that stuff in the media as well. It might be that a certain clothing line, not necessarily like a designer label, although it may be a designer label that decides to create a more affordable line for sort of mass, to reach a mass market, a more affordable line in alignment with sort of a store that carries cheaper brands. And so a very notable big designer is likely to do something like that now. But also this is about, on the one hand, it is about sort of the fashion lines that are more readily accessible, not necessarily high couture, but this is more looking at sort of those ready-to-wear kind of stores that a lot of people go to. And we should hear one of these stores talk about expanding their offerings as well, and talk about how certain things that they're carrying are more in alignment with what people really want. So at least one of these sort of companies that carries ready-to-wear, sort of very affordable brands should be in the news coming up now and in the weeks ahead as well. So that's for us as a collective as well. So lots of amazing stuff happening on a personal level, stuff happening on a collective level as well. And I know that I'm truly looking forward to all the wonderful explorations that you guys have. I thank you so much for watching the introduction. I thank you so much for interacting with me, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, my website, nadiyashah.com, and the YouTube comments as well. Please do keep your interactions coming, your feedback coming, and also your questions as well. Now, sometimes I'm asked questions that are a little bit more personal, that have to do with your unique situation, your unique birth chart. If that is the case, please do consider a personalized horoscope where I can do just that, answer your personal questions. And you can find out more about that on my website. But of course, I do hope that these videos in some way affirm to you that the universe is wise and loving. It really is the whole reason I do everything I do, to affirm that truth in the world. The universe is wise and loving. And so my hope is that these videos in some way add some hope and some inspiration and some reminder of that truth into your life. So how all this wonderful stuff speaks to you in your sign is coming up right now. Hello, fabulous Aries. This week we have got the Sun and Mercury moving through your sign. Speaking with Uranus in your sign, I mean, if anybody's going to have a light bulb, spirit cleansing out of nowhere kind of moment, it is you. There's going to be clarity. There's going to be understanding. There's going to be insight. There's going to be a recognition of where change is long overdue. And also a summoning of not only the courage, but the willingness, knowing that you are up for the task of embracing the change on hand. Now, it is very possible that, given the way the Sun and Mercury have been speaking with Jupiter, it's very possible that love is part of facilitating this change. So it may be love that's asking you to change in ways that you never dreamed possible. Well, here is your moment. And something about it, yes, is challenging you, but it feels like, and it seems like, it is a challenge that resonates as right for you, that resonates as perfect, actually, for this point. So you can see that work needs to be done. However, a lot of the work is likely to be personal, and it looks like you understand on a soul level that you are being made better thanks to the work. Hello, fabulous Taurus. This week we have got your ruling planet changing signs. So your ruling planet is moving forward out of your sign with a bit of a bang. As I said last week, we did have Venus speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto, so that's very exciting. That's energy you're carrying throughout last week. This week, we are going to have Venus by the end of the week leaving your sign, moving into the sign, the part of the sky for you that has to do with money. It has to do with finances. It has to do with what it is that you do to provide for yourself and to meet your own needs. And it looks like the whole prospect of making money is about to get a lot sweeter for you. And so there's an element here of feeling that you are being asked to learn and demonstrate that you are worthy of receiving good things, because that's often the lesson of Venus, and that includes money. But there's also a real joy and a real understanding that whatever it is that you do to make money can be something that isn't necessarily a grudge, isn't necessarily so tough. There's an understanding that you can bring creativity and softness and beauty to whatever it is that you do for a living, and that there are ways to feel creatively fulfilled and valued in your work that you do. Now, for some people, this is going to be part of a larger exploration where you are considering what is it that you could do to earn more money, and what could you do to earn more money in a way that feels more rewarding. For others, this is just whatever it is that you do to earn money, the process feels easier. Like that's just going to be the way it is for some Taurians out there. It'll just be, if you're happy with what you're doing, not really anticipating or thinking anything needs to change, then you'll just enjoy yourself a little bit more as you are busy doing what you need to do to earn money. But as I said, this part of the sky also has to do with considering how you connect to your own value and what value you place on what you give. So there is going to be an exploration now as to what is it that you could do to create greater value in terms of the value of what you are creating for others, and how it is that the universe can then reward that by creating more prosperity for you as well. On a very immediate level, this can also be your money-making endeavors meeting your love endeavors as well. So this could be that you decide to do something together with someone that you love, or this could also be you meeting somebody really awesome as you are just going about the business of doing what you need to do to take care of yourself. Hello, fabulous Gemini. Well, Venus moves into your sign. Now, there's a lot other happening, right? Mostly speaking to the eclipse that took place last week. And so I'll just let you watch last week's again if you need to be reminded of that. But let's keep it positive, right? If I have to keep it positive, don't want to repeat myself, I do want to say Venus moving into your sign is good for love, without a doubt. This is the goddess of love moving into your sign at that. I do think that as Venus moves into your sign, there is going to be a bit of a sense of relief. There should be a bit of an exhale. It might not be immediate, okay? Going a little bit further ahead, as Venus enters your sign, she is going to be building towards a conversation with Saturn that'll perfect next week, and I'll be here to talk about it then. But you'll be feeling that this week. And so it doesn't look like, whereas for all else being equal, it might feel automatic that all of a sudden everything feels amazing. You might have to wait a few days, but know that the universe is very much on your side for attracting love, for raising a sense of self-worth, for believing that you deserve good things, including the love that you experience in your life, and also for just being able to express your charming best and being able to attract as a result of it as well. Venus entering your sign always makes life feel a little easier, even when she's having conversations that aren't necessarily easy. But of course, this week as well, we do have your ruling planet speaking in supreme harmony with Jupiter, meeting Uranus, speaking with Pluto. Again, all of this is continuing themes from the eclipse, but I do think that you are going to connect to that energy of understanding that everything that's happening is actually moving you in a very positive direction. Venus helps in that, but your ruling planet speaking to Jupiter definitely helps in that. There's a feeling of faith and a way in which you're able to express yourself now and communicate now that makes you realize that you have something in you that you can trust that will always be there to create a better circumstance for yourself. Hello, fabulous Cancer. This week we have got all this energy building in a part of the sky for you that really is the very top of your chart. It has to do with career. It has to do with life purpose. It has to do with direction and you understanding what direction it is that you're going in, that you're meant to go in as well. And so just on a very immediate level, this is likely to be expressed or realized for those of you who are going for a promotion or in sort of the career stream, if you will, climbing a ladder, if you will. It looks like you're very goal-oriented at this time. There could be some sort of an opportunity or interview sort of situation that comes up for some, or it might be very informal, where all of a sudden somebody who's a supervisor or a boss, you end up having sort of a spontaneous conversation with them. There's a bit of, it may not necessarily feel totally smooth, but what's really great is that it is sort of a light bulb awareness, lights coming on awareness, where you're getting, okay, this is the reality of the situation. This is where I am within this structure, within this company, in regards to where it is that I believe I am going. So there's going to be that element of reality, which also contributes to inspiration as well. But that doesn't mean there isn't going to be hard work, I got to say. And it looks like some of the questions that you might be asked, again, whether they come up spontaneously or in a formal setting, really do kind of make you take a little bit of a step back. But ultimately, this is about you getting honest with yourself if you really want what it is that you are going for. What is it that you're going for? What is it that you believe is the goals that matter in your life and that you're aiming for? This is your chance to get clear on that. Are they really worthy of you? Do you really want this? Do you want to continue on the path you've been going on? If the answer is yes, then you will find yourself considering and also really having a grasp of a much more clearer plan and a much more clearer path towards what really matters to you. Hello, fabulous Leo. This week we have got this wonderful energy building in fellow fire sign Aries. And we have the week starting off with you carrying in this energy of the sun speaking to Jupiter in your sign in supreme harmony. Mercury at the start of the week, early in the week, is speaking with Jupiter in your sign. And so even though I do think for other people it might feel, and they may have moments that feel a little tough, a little challenging, I think that yours is one of the signs that is going to find a way to navigate this very smoothly, with lots of optimism, with lots of hope, with lots of belief that things can be really amazing and that things can get better and better for you. So there's this lift happening right now. There's a hope happening right now that I think ultimately is going to lead you in a direction where you're feeling strong and stable and secure and clear about what really matters. The universe is trying to get you to adjust your vision, to make it more optimistic and to make it more expansive, trying to get you to raise your standards so you're not operating on like sort of just 50%, but actually to raise your standards so that you're bringing forward your best and so that you feel like you're creating greater happiness for yourself and creating greater opportunity for yourself, the kind that excites you, so that you're moving towards what it is ultimately that you truly want to manifest. And so this is a time to clarify that vision, asking yourself some tough questions, yes, but ultimately feeling truly inspired about the path ahead, and the path ahead in just about every area of life at that. Hello, fabulous Virgo. This week we have got your ruling planet very active in the sky now. So your ruling planet is speaking in supreme harmony with Jupiter. And I look at this conversation, I think, yes, your ruling planet's also meeting Uranus, speaking with Pluto in not so harmonious conversations necessarily. However, the fact that we have this conversation playing out in a part of the sky that, I mean, this symbol just speaks to me about good karma. There is good karma happening right now that is leading you to change, that is leading you to feel powerful. There might even be a financial element to this where you receive some good financial news in regards to whether it's an application or a situation that took place long ago, that's been ongoing for a while now. So this is a chance to bring to close, possibly, one situation in favor of nurturing a whole other situation. And again, you've got some really good karma on your side, especially as you're starting this week. Now, it doesn't look like all the answers are simple, all the answers are easy breezy necessarily, but you are learning tremendously as you're going along, and you are connecting to a faith that life can certainly work very much on your side. So you're starting the week with a sense of having a victory, feeling a lot of support. It's after that you're having to sort of ask yourself a bit of tough questions, especially on the financial front. But for all that, the angels are on your side this week, without a doubt. You've got lots of celestial help spurring you along, wanting to improve your circumstances. It really is going to be up to you to do what you can to be open to them, of course, but also to stay connected to that belief that life is on your side. Stay connected to that belief and you will see lots of evidence in support of that. Hello, fabulous Libra. This week we've got all this energy happening in the opposite sign, in your opposite sign, and what we've also got happening is you coming off of a recent eclipse in your sign. And so I do think that for a lot of Libras out there, this week is going to speak most strongly to the themes that I discussed in the month horoscope for April. But having said that, in love, lots is happening. And the changes that you are going through, the personal changes that you are going through are being reflected in the relationships that you have, the one-on-one partnerships that you have as well. And so this is going to be, as you are shifting, as you are coming to a deeper understanding of who you really are, now it's time to get honest with yourself about who you are with, where you are in love, and are you okay with that? There's also an element playing out here that has to do with partnership as well. Who are you aligned with professionally and personally as well? And how are they ultimately a reflection of you? Where is it that you've been holding on to certain connections based on sort of some sort of loyalty of the past and not necessarily what's happening right now today? And so you've got this opportunity to really examine and to really get honest with yourself about how other people are reflecting your state of being, your state of spirit. Where it is that you see things you like, you're going to be given the chance to fortify and strengthen those connections. And where it is that you're seeing things that aren't so great, this is going to be your chance to be honest with yourself and to summon the courage to make some very brave changes in accordance to the people with whom you align with. Because ultimately it is about aligning with people that you believe bring positive energy into your life and help inspire you to be a better version of yourself. Hello, fabulous Scorpio. This week we have got all this energy building in a part of the sky for you that has to do with work and the workplace. Lots is changing in the workplace for you, I gotta say. And I think that in some ways, some of these changes have been building for a while, but it may be that these changes have been building. People have kind of known. There might even have been sort of a positive spin on some of this, but now everything starts to take into effect. And there's a little bit of a moment. Okay, what are we going to do now? Things are changing in terms of the work. How are we going to navigate this? In terms of the workspace, how are we going to move forward with this? So there may be a little bit, it looks like there's an element there of good news, good things are happening. And at the same time, there's an element there of some scrambling happening as well as people around you and yourself are trying to figure out where it is that you're going to find your equilibrium going forward now. So there's a lot of change happening. Something about it feels riveting. Something about it feels right. But also some of these changes, the nature of them and the full impact of them might feel that they're not necessarily what you anticipated. So, for example, if you thought, if you knew somebody wasn't happy for a while, this could be them sort of announcing, handing in their notice, but then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, we'll pay you for the 2 weeks. You can leave anyways right now. Give us your keys. We'll send you your stuff. It could be like that type of situation, really. It could also be like if you are self-employed, this could also be attracting a really amazing client, being really happy about that, but then all of a sudden realizing that, okay, wow, what they're actually expecting is on a whole other level, and you can see how it's good for you, and you want to rise to the challenge, but there's a little bit of a moment of, okay, how are we going to do this? How are we going to move forward with this as well? So there's lots of, in one sense, sort of challenging yourself to be your very best, and that really is when you are at your very best. But there's also a need to, as I said, equilibrium. Find that equilibrium. Challenge yourself in ways that feel right, but also don't take on so much that you feel like the whole world is on your shoulders. It needn't be. And you actually can find this time to be enlivening, a time when new ideas and new prospects come up for you. And if you can embrace that with a sense of adventure, you'll certainly find yourself coming out on top in a much better circumstance than you were as you are starting off the week. Hello, fabulous Sagittarius. This week we've got all this energy building in fellow fire sign Aries for you. This is a part of the sky that on the one hand is very romantic. On the other hand, this part of the sky also has to do with joy, with fun, has to do with your creations, has to do with children as well. All of these areas are going to be getting a lot of your attention now. So if you have kids, all of a sudden you got to pay more attention to them. All of a sudden you realize, okay, you need to be present for them in a way that you had not anticipated. Ultimately really positive, right? This ultimately could end up being a really positive thing. You've got Jupiter there in supreme protection. So, this could be that your kid all of a sudden, decides to join some sort of new club and you didn't realize, but you've got to participate there. You've got to be there more than you had previously anticipated. And so it looks like your child, very protected. Child has lots of very positive mentors right now around them. And at the same time, there's an adjustment being had for you where you realize that you've got to bring forward some new skills and learn about yourself in a new way as a parent. Those of you who are trying to have a baby, very supportive sky to do that. If you're not trying that, you can channel this energy in another way. Creatively as well. And so you've got lots of support for really bringing a creative project along, an artistic project along. However, it does look like there might be an element there that's personally challenging. So it could be that you're really inspired by an idea, but you're trying to figure out how to implement it. That's part of the process. And that also can be part of the fun should you choose to make it so. But as I said, there's also a romantic vibe here. So this is really great if you're dating somebody, particularly if you're dating somebody or open to meeting somebody new. There's lots of flirting to be had. Now, I got to be honest with you, the reality of the situation might not be what you think it is on the surface, okay? So if you meet somebody new or you're getting to know somebody right now, it could be that person that you're dating and getting to know while there is this really hope and softness and a wonderful vibe. At the same time, this person might end up surprising you with some information about their past or their current circumstance that takes you a little bit aback, like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that. If you are flirting, getting to know somebody, you meet somebody new this week, again, it could be very quickly you realize, okay, this isn't the situation I thought it was. This person, whether currently or in the past, might have previous attachment. So you just want to be mindful of that. They may have like an ex who's not a very nice person, I got to say, because that's what happens when we've got Pluto there, okay? So sometimes it can be these dramas that are presented in our lives when Pluto is speaking to planets in this way, and planets in such a romantic sort of flirtation part of the sky. So do be mindful of that. Ultimately, I do think that this week is really about understanding what you need to welcome in greater joy, welcome in greater fun, welcome in greater a sense of being in contact with that creative energy that love often opens to us. And where it is that personal change needs to happen so we can have more of those experiences, the universe will help us in that path. Hello, fabulous Capricorn. This week we have got Pluto in your sign speaking with the sun, speaking with Mercury as well. And all these planets building in home front, on home base, on home turf, if you will. So it does look like you are going to be spending a lot of time at home. Some things are changing for you as well, and you're being personally challenged by these changes. How do you feel about them? I think there's a very healing relationship taking place right now between your home space and you as well. It certainly is a relationship, I got to tell you, where the space you live in, whether it's the actual home and the city and the country, ultimately we have these relationships to these places. And I think that relationship is especially going to be highlighted for you now. On the one hand, you're enjoying and creating more beauty where you are right now. And on the other hand, you're seeing how ultimately you are growing in this process as well, in ways that surprise you, in ways you hadn't anticipated, in ways that challenge you as well. But there seems to be an element of clarity, and there may even be like sort of a surprise that finds you on home turf. Now, this could be like a relative just showing up at your door. So be open to that. That may just happen for some Capricornians out there. This could also be all of a sudden you realize that, okay, I've got to spend more time in the house. I have this really great creative idea, this breakthrough idea, and that means I've got to create a space in my home that allows that to happen. This could also be out of the blue, a parent needing, where it applies, a parent needing your attention, or a need to travel. If you live in a place that you feel is far from home, however you define that, this could be the need to all of a sudden travel, return home, if you will, for a brief visit at that, but it seems to come out of nowhere, it comes quickly, and the demand, the requirement is met very quickly as well. Hello, fabulous Aquarius. This week we've got all this energy happening in a part of the sky for you that has to do with neighbors. It has to do with neighbors. Now, what's really great is that you've got lots of one-on-one support. So it looks like the people around you, the one-on-one support you have is certainly there. The connection is there. The contact is there. That is beautiful. That is awesome. And so where it comes to just feeling that people are on your side, you've got that. But I got to tell you, there might be a little bit of drama just with your neighbors. Now, you don't have to take it on. You don't have to make it about you. It doesn't have to be about you. In fact, I do think that a part of you is going to be making decisions as a result of what you're witnessing in other people who live close to you and saying, okay, yes, this change, this decision is long overdue. This understanding of my space and where I end and my neighbors begin is long overdue. But just be aware of that prospect. I mean, I just think that some Aquarians out there might find their neighbors are a little bit noisier than they are necessarily comfortable with, might not be able to get sleep as well because of noisy neighbors. And you, of course, are going to figure out how to handle that. If it helps anything, I do remember way back when I left for graduate school, my very first day at graduate school, there was a very loud party in the dorms, and I very quickly realized within the week that this was going to be a daily occurrence. There were going to be lots of loud parties, the smell of all kinds of substances were going to be in the air, were going to seep into my room, and I had to make a decision how I was going to deal with that. Was I going to deal with that by trying to fight it, as I saw other people do, not very successfully, like right off the bat? Or was I going to accept it? Now, whatever your decision is and however you are going to navigate that is completely up to you, up to whatever feels comfortable for you. But just know that there might be stuff that really doesn't have to do with you, but ends up influencing you a little bit that you just want to watch out for. But again, on the other hand, it could be those very situations that lead you to have one-on-one conversations and reconnections with the people whom you live close to, that ends up being a really positive force in your life, that ends up creating really positive changes in your life. And I also think that end up, for some of you out there, creating romantic opportunities and understandings for you as well. Hello, fabulous Pisces. This week we've got all this energy building in a part of the sky for you that is decidedly financial. Lots of financial energy building for you. You are paying attention to your money. This is money that you earn, what you do to earn money as well. All of that is going to be brought into focus for you now. This is going to be an important week for you, where it does look like you likely are going to be sort of trying to find your balance, your equilibrium, where it comes to the way that you go about earning your living and what you believe that you are worth. Now, it is possible under the sky, I'll be honest with you. And I know I've been saying this from time to time because it is sort of part of, we have these peak moments as part of longer term transits, but not a good week to lend money to a friend. Not a good week to mix money and friendship. Okay, so just be mindful of that. This is a really great week, though, to allow yourself to be inspired of what you could do, especially on the financial front, and a really good week to experience financial progress, possibly a raise in the workplace due to what it is that you are contributing to your workplace. So that is very blessed. Could be an expense coming up. If it does come up, you are going to want to be mindful of that, possibly being connected to a friend. You do have a choice in the matter, but also really great ideas are going to be with you. And so it's a great time to brainstorm what you really want to do to create greater prosperity for yourself. On another front, we have Venus moving into a part of the sky for you that has to do with the past. And so where it is, those of you out there who've been thinking about reconnecting with someone from your past, this could very well be a time when they sort of pop up. When all of a sudden you get a sort of an email or a nice exchange, it all looks very pleasant. I'm not seeing super passion or whatever. And it looks like there might even be, as you are at the end of this week and heading into next week, a bit of a reality check. So if you do end up connecting, it might end up being that they're now married and have 6 kids or something. Really, it might be like, oh, wow, okay, that's the reality of your situation now. I had no idea. It could be that kind of situation. But for all that, it does look overall really pleasant. It looks to be a nice exchange that makes you ultimately remember that there is love in the world for you. Well, thank you so much to all signs out there. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.